傭兵支援が必要だ。
了解。砲撃確認。
Yo, what's up? Starting today, the new Rocket Artillery event squads can be unlocked in the ongoing event. And the first one is the Japanese one. Now, funnily enough, they come with German names, which is likely a bug. And even more likely a bug is the fact that you can give the engineer all types of weapons, meaning you can give him SMGs, you can even give him machine guns or sniper rifles. He takes everything. Though the normal radio men that come with the squad don't have this bug, they can only receive rifles. But more importantly, this squad comes with a ton of free swag that's absolutely strong. First of all, the standard rifle. This squad starts as a BR4 squad. Reason for that is the standard weapon. If you change this weapon to any other weapon you want, you can give the squad whatever BR you want. The standard rifle they come with, the Type 4 rifle, is one of the strongest semi-auto rifles in the game. You can see it by the fact that it's BR4 and not BR3 as most semi-auto rifles actually are. This is even significantly better than the American counterpart, the M1 Garand, since you, instead of having 8 bullets, get 10. You have one of the best sights in the game, and you also have some really good recoil that's very controllable. And it feels much lower than what you see here depicted. So yeah, this weapon absolutely good. The fact that you get 5 of them for free saves you roughly 100,000 silver, which is extremely good. Now every single of these soldiers is also a tier 2 soldier. Tier 2 means level 2. So not engineer 1 but engineer 2. And the radio men are also radio men 2. Though they are special because they don't have the normal engineer perks. For example, normal engineer 2s get +4 vitality, +2 mobility. These dudes come with +6 weapon handling. Same goes for the radio men. They get a standardized upgrade, which is normal. Many event and premium squads have different types of perking compared to normal soldiers, which is quite cool because A, it's different, and B, you can do some unique combinations that you usually couldn't. And they also have another starting perk. They get +70% health restored, which is quite cool. Since, well, you want to make your radio man as survivable as possible. And getting additional health when you heal them is obviously very welcome. Now, once you get them, the first thing you want to do is you want to give them better equipment. And you can use this for every other nation too. So just look at it once and then you can just copy it for the other nations. Now the first thing you want to do is to equip our soldiers properly. Obviously, give them whatever weapon you want for your BR. I recommend to either play BR2, 3 or 5. You can of course play this BR4 rifle also in BR5, but if you have unlocked the Type A automatic, obviously use that instead, since that is one of the best weapons overall in the game. Much better than the normal Type 4 rifle, which is not full automatic. Or for BR3, BR2, yeah, whatever bolt action you feel comfortable with. Or even the quite reliable Type Otsu rifle, which isn't expensive and shoots quite well, also has quite a good sights and 5 bullets, which is, yeah, quite okay for a semi-auto rifle. So with these squads, standard equipment for the engineer is quite flexible because you have an automatic backpack slot. Now what you can do is, if you want to grind, play 3 medkits and a toolkit. Now you can heal your teammates 3 times and repair a tank 14 times, which is going to give you over 1000 experience. Yeah, this is insanely good for grinding. You can also, obviously, if you get downed a couple of times, just heal yourself 3 times, preventing you from dying, which is also quite good. Or if you want to have the maximum offensive power, just give him a large grenade pouch and a bunch of grenades, which is also really good. The worst thing you could do is give him a ammo pouch. Well, engineers are the last class that need ammo pouches because they can build ammo boxes. So yeah. And of course you want to give him a katana because you're one of the Emperor's Chosens, and a flask and some random mine or the toilet plunger, whatever. So yeah, this is already good. This makes sure that your engineer can actually survive and dish out all the damage as well. Now regarding perks, you can play a couple of games to unlock the 5th star, or you can just purchase the level with these purchasing stars that you get from the battle pass. I recommend to do that, because then you don't need to spend 3 games playing with soldiers which are unnecessarily weak. Now regarding the perks, most event and premium squads come badly perked, so you have to reperk them yourself if you want to have them really strong. For engineers, this means you want the maximum amount of fast building, and of course you want vitality. And you see, these soldiers come with the perfect amount for getting the vitality perk. Vitality is a no-brainer on engineers, because engineers constantly die, and you want them to be as survivable as possible. Now, since you have to distribute 6 perks in the first row, question comes up, well, we can't afford any red, because we need 16 red for vitality, so we need to throw around the red anywhere else. Also, depending on which BR you want to play them, you're gonna want either vertical recoil reduction if you play semi-autos or full autos, or you want faster reload or bolt action fire rate if you play them on BR2. Now, here's the problem. Some people like to use this perk for additional survivability. Problem is, this perk is quite bugged, and after the first entry point you give it, it might not work. So it's worth to put in maximum 1 level here, but no more. And the faster bolt action shooting perk also is bugged. Yeah, so these perks are basically not really worth using. So what I'm going to do is, personally, I'm just going to perk them for BR3 for 5, giving them the recoil reduction. So we don't need any horizontal, because semi-autos have low horizontal and extremely high vertical, so we need to put everything here. And this gives us enough yellow to, well, fill out a bunch of points here, so we can free up this red. Also, what about the green perks? Well, since we're talking about engineers, we want the pose changing speed, since whenever you build, you usually also change your pose. And now we have 3 left points. Well, we can just put them in here. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can just put in 2 more for for faster melee attack, which can be quite useful since you have a katana, and on short range this is quite good. And now you can buy yourself the vitality perk, and you have 5 points left. Now what do we get with these? Faster reload is always fine, and yep, we can't remove this, so let's just give it more melee. Also, if you like shoveling, the shovel speed gets increased by this perk, so this is quite nice as well. Now for the radio man, it's very similar since they have exactly the same perks. Only difference is the weaponry. Now for the weapons, I recommend to give them 1 bolt action for long range, and then a semi-auto rifle that I don't have over now. I'm gonna remove one here to show it. And a semi-auto rifle for short range. Now this gives you the ability to engage enemies on all distances optimally. Also, your bots will be perfectly equipped for all types of battles, since the bots always choose the strongest weapon they can choose for an engagement. So yeah, this is the perfect distribution. Since they have an automatic second weapon slot, they can't get a backpack slot. Also, since they carry around their little radio, this means you want to give them the standard stuff of a pistol, katana, flask, mine, and then a random grenade. Usually good is anti-tank mine or TNT charge, and then an anti-infantry grenade, because you always want to have one way to deal with tanks, and then if it's a mine, then you can use an anti-infantry grenade. If you use an anti-infantry mine, then just use a TNT pack, though usually having an anti-infantry grenade and an anti-tank mine is the by far strongest combination. And regarding perks, well, after perking them up, you see that you're in the same problem, that you need to clean up these perks to get up to 16 vitality, and you also want to fill out this. Biggest advantage is you don't need to put green perks into the faster building, so you have them basically for free and you can use whatever you want with them. Now, you can literally just perk however you want. Doesn't matter, there's not much power gaming possible here. Obviously you want to remove this to give them maximum points for here, and you want to fill out this. And you actually could go with one of these perks to increase their survivability a little bit. And then faster reload. And now you need obviously to pull out a bit of this in here. And now we see we have radio men, which are basically maximum survival because they can hide quickly, they can drop down quickly, they heal much faster from fire, which especially in the Pacific is quite common because you constantly get flamethrowed, you constantly get phosphor gas and all the other shenanigans. So yeah, this perk is quite useful in the Pacific. And now you have a soldier which is quite durable, quite good at shooting, and survives very well. So yeah, this is my recommendation for how to perk them. You can do this with the whole squad, and congratulations, you're gonna have a really reliable soldier that won't get bullied by by any enemies. So what can the squad actually do? Simple answer, everything, because this squad is basically a mix of a radio squad and an engineer squad, meaning you don't really need to play engineer squads if you don't want to anymore, because this squad gives you the same thing while also being a radio squad. Reason for that is it has all the blue engineer squad technology, meaning anti-tank guns, machine guns, machine gun nests, and anti-air guns, together with fast artillery, halving the time you need to wait to call artillery strikes, smoke strikes, bomber raids, and rocket artillery strikes. Yes, because we're playing the rocket artillery event, and also supply crate drops, which so far I haven't ever seen used in any game. But yeah, maybe they will become more often now. Definitely all of the premium squad users haven't done so yet. So how can you use the squad? Very simple. My recommendation is, strategically speaking, you can either start the game with the squad. I recommend to do this if the objective is instantly full with enemies. So if you're attacking and the objective is open, which is most often the case in Pacific, you can start a game with this and call a quick radio artillery strike, and then the objective will be empty after 11 to 12 seconds. So this is one of the best ways to use the squad, especially in the Pacific. Another way to use this is to start with any other squad that has a radio man, call an artillery strike, and after your squad dies, since you have frequent artillery on this squad, you will be able to call another artillery strike after 2 minutes. This is also a really good way. You can't do this strategy with other squads because it only works this quickly if you have frequent artillery unlocked. So since I don't play any radio squads usually, I could, for example, start the game with this machine gun squad, do the average machine gunning, and then call an artillery strike instantly at the beginning of the game. And once the squad dies, I can 2 minutes later start to call another artillery strike. So yeah, you can maximize back-to-back artillery strikes. Obviously use rocket artillery strikes, not normal artillery strikes, since rocket artillery overall is better. It's not completely better in every regard, because it's less precise, and the explosions aren't that strong, but overall I would say, especially thanks to the speed advantage, it's better. Also, it's much better than bomber raids, because bomber raids get always shot down in the Pacific, and in general, especially if you're playing against good enemy teams. Now, this one strategy, just maximizing the amount of artillery strike, just calling as many artillery strikes as possible during a game. But guess what? Since everyone is unlocking these squads now, everyone is going to call artillery strikes quickly, so you better train your fast clicking to be the first person to call an artillery strike in the beginning of the game. Now, since not everyone can be the fastest, it's recommendable to just, for that reason alone, not start with the radio squad and start with any other squad, because the competition is going to be very high in the beginning of the game. And yeah, now what you can also do is, if you play the squad, just stay somewhere behind and build these structures, because Pacific highly dominated by planes, especially, well, actually on every BR. The Japanese have horrible planes on most BRs except for the 5th, because all of your planes are starting on carriers, except for the last planes. Now, this doesn't hinder the Americans though, because almost all of their planes start in the air. So if you're playing Japanese, it's a good idea to always have an anti-air gun ready to shoot them down. If you are on an objective that allows it, or on a map that allows it, build anti-air guns. They're also really reliable. Or just machine gun nests if it's a closed objective, and you can just pin down a whole street or something similar. So yeah, this is really useful to have something to do while you're trying to stay behind and survive with your radio squad and waiting for the 2 minutes to pass to call another artillery strike. So yeah, basically use the squad like an engineer squad and not like a normal radio squad. Normal radio squads you would use like a sniper squad, since you want to stay behind and then use the sniper to just snipe targets, and so you have something useful to do while you're waiting. But this squad can act as an engineer squad at the same time. So yeah, overall really good squads, really useful. And as I released in the short yesterday, the artillery strikes are also really good. They can kill every tank in the game. If they get a good hit, even King Tiger ages. And since you're playing against the Americans, well, guess what? It's much easier to kill stuff than against Germans if they come with the strong stuff. And radio strikes are especially rocket artillery strikes, yeah, are especially good on lower BRs, because there you don't even need perfect hits against the tanks. Even slight off hits will blow up every tank instantly. So you know, the lower the BR you're playing, the better these squads are, simply due to the rocket artillery penetration, but also obviously the lower your BR, the better anti-tank guns are, and the better anti-air guns are. Because fast planes, high BR planes can't be shot down easily, but slow planes very easily shot down with anti-air guns, and obviously anti-tank guns also relatively stronger against weaker tanks, and also in an environment where most people have bolt actions, a machine gun nest is obviously very good. So yeah. Though, don't overestimate the rocket artillery, because quite often they just completely whiff, partially due to enemies getting used by now to being instantly artillery striked at the beginning of the game, and therefore intelligently running away, which is exactly what I recommended in my top 10 mistakes enlisted player make guide, to always instantly evacuate your objective if you're a defender in the beginning of the game. And also some objectives who have roofs are quite impenetrable. Even though the rockets have some good penetration, they don't seem to really work against, for example, the big hangars on the Gabuto map. So you might get 1 or 2 rockets through and get 1, 2, 3 kills, but overall this rocket artillery basically only works against open objectives. Alright, let me know how your experiences were so far with this new event squad. I personally had the most fun role-playing it, doing survival runs, meaning trying to survive a whole game with the same squad, and calling as many rocket artillery strikes as possible and shooting down planes and tanks in the meantime. Until next time, goodbye.